Pleasant good day to all of my YouTube fans across the globe. It is indeed my pleasure to stand before the world once again to do our weekly YouTube presentation. And as usual, we bring you that spirit of energy and vibration. So I, Imo Rameses Bakari, your psychologist and life coach from the magical community of Confronting in Trinidad and Tobago, located in the Southern Caribbean. It is my desire for you to rise higher. It is my desire for you to rise even higher. It is my desire to motivate you to do what you need to do to become the person you need to become. It is my desire to partner with you in 2024 to ensure that your plans become a reality. This will be done through counseling, through coaching, through writing, through teaching, through motivational speaking, through feature addresses, through community action and consultancy services. Because after all, you, yes you, are deserving of becoming the best versions of yourself, and we are prepared, I am prepared to work with you to ensure that this becomes a reality. So we now share a motivational word with you. And the motivational word that will be shared is that once you are a member of the human configuration, of the human race, you are deserving of respect. You are deserving of the opportunity to become the kind of human being you should become. I would like you to reflect on that because the reality is totally opposed on many fronts to that statement I just made. As human beings, we are deserving of respect. We are deserving of all the opportunities to become the best versions of ourselves. But sadly, that is not the reality. So let us reflect on the statement I made, and let us see what we can do in whatever small way or ways to upturn that absurdity of discrimination in all its forms against our fellow men. So having shared the motivational word with you, I remind you of the services that we offer. We offer counseling services, we offer coaching services, we offer consultancy services, we also have ongoing courses such as the Fundamentals of Psychology, costing $1,300, such as the Fundamentals of Public Speaking, costing $1,200 for students and $1,800 for the general public. We also have a course entitled Mastering Emotional Intelligence, costing $1,800 for students and $2,500 for the general public. You can also support us by contributing through the account flashing on the screen. You can also contribute via our YPay and Patreon links. You can buy my book, Conversation, priced at 100 TT, 45 EC dollars, or 15 United States dollars. Or you can also buy any of the other advertised books on our presentation. We also would like you to just give us a call at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com, and we will be more than prepared and ready to serve you to the best of our ability. So give us a call, email us, and we will be ready to do our part in taking you along the journey of success. So the topic for today, it's a topic that is often overlooked. It's a topic that is often sidestepped. It's a topic sometimes that is not discussed with the kind of frankness and honesty as it should be. And that topic surrounds the question of race. We live in a world, sadly, where, all parts of humanity are not viewed in the same light. All parts of humanity are not treated the same way. Is that the plan of God? No. It has always been the plan of man to divide, to discriminate, to exploit, to harm, to maim, and to kill his fellow men. And I'm saying today, let us have this discussion, because the discussion around race certainly wouldn't go away. So I'm saying, let us confront the question of racial hatred, and let us debunk the notion of a superior race. So God in his wisdom created mankind. We know from both historical, archaeological, paleontological, and other findings that the birthplace of man has been confirmed to be in the African continent. We had Dr. Albert Churchward in 1921, a physician, an archaeologist, and architect, and a member of the Royal Council of Physicians in England, making the bold statement that the birthplace of man all started in Africa, and that they emerged from the Great Lake regions of Egypt and they moved outwards to other regions of the world. There was a lot of skepticism at the time when that pronouncement was made, but as fate had it, many fossil findings were found in different parts of the African continent. In Southern Africa, around in the early 1930s, they found fossil remains of a child dating 2 million years. Then later on, a few years later, in another part of Africa, they found fossil remains dating 3 million years. And then the most significant finding was in 1974 in northeast Ethiopia, when the skeletal remains of a 12-year-old, famously named Lucy, was found, that indicated the birth of man by more than 1 million years to the 2 million years that was originally stated. And this finding, this development, was reported in the National Geographic in 1986, and I'm saying all of this to state that that was the beginning of mankind's existence, and then migration to different parts saw human beings adopting their physical characteristics, etc., to suit the climatic conditions. So in essence, all of mankind can be linked to that source. And I had the pleasant surprise in 2011 in visiting the California Academy of Science, and rightly and boldly, they had a big public display on one of their bulletin boards that the birth of man can be traced to the female origins based on that finding that I referenced earlier on, and that we are all Africans. As a matter of fact, the heading of the title is that we are all Africans. So I'm saying all of this to state that however you look, however you are classified in terms of race, we all are connected in terms of all races being connected to that source of the African being the original man. That is no statement to put anybody above anybody else. But sadly, in the area of social science, we know that race is what you call a social construct. In other words, race and its various divisions were constructed by man, and in most cases not with good intentions. We also could cite the atrocity and the most abominable experience that any group of people ever experienced in the Mahafa through the transatlantic slave trade, where Africans were brought forcibly to the Americas, to the Caribbean, and other parts of the world, and were viewed not as human beings, but were viewed as chattel, were viewed as property, as a commodity, and were traded. Many of them fought from the inhumane conditions on the ship and threw themselves overboard. And those who ended up being enslaved, they also fought for their freedom, because at the end of the day, no part of humanity should have ever been subjected to such brutality, to such dehumanization, deculturalization, and making others into less of a human being. I'm saying all of this because the whole ramifications of how people look, of racial prejudice, racial hatred, racial discrimination is very much in our lives. It is interwoven and is interwoven in a way that is not positive. We remember the incident just a few years ago. World famous Oprah Winfrey, African American, visited a store in Switzerland, and because of her appearance, the store clerk concluded that she was not capable of buying a particular bag that she was interested in. And then when it was brought to management and they recognized the enormity of their foolishness, at the end of the day, whether you are Oprah Winfrey or whoever you are, everybody should be treated with respect and dignity and not be discriminated in that way. But again, it's an absurdity, it's a tragedy that people could be judged and treated indifferently because of how they look, because of man's machinations in terms of categorizing people based on their physical characteristics into racial categories and treating them as less than. That situation is still in vogue, and we must fight, we must talk about it, we must have mature discussions, we must have sensitive discussions, and we must have a willingness to really work to eradicate that situation from amongst us. But it is clear that such a situation will not just disappear. So, the love for each other should be paramount. The hate should be diminished. But we know it has been in the interest of many to maintain divisions. It has been in the interest of many because of, making others feel less than, because of exploiting resources of the lands of others, because of creating this, abomination of slavery, that many countries in the West have built their wealth off of such tragedies. And we are saying all human beings with a sense of conscience must stand up and must voice their concerns for these kinds of situations. And it's a situation that has, occurred not only in a white and black context, but it has also occurred even among people looking the same. It has also occurred because of the whole color line established because of the slave experience, where even within African families, people of different shades, lighter shades. Some parents, foolhardily try to offer better treatment to such children. So there's a whole perpetuation of that kind of absurdity in the society, and it is not disappearing. And I am saying, man must not make himself into a god in terms of how people should be treated. Everyone is deserving of human dignity. Everyone should be given the opportunity. But because of the quest for power, because of greed, because of power both in a political sense and in an economic sense, many people have given themselves the unauthorized belief and authority that they can do what they please and they can treat others by the mere fact of how they look. We have many citizens in the United States of America, right, because of how they look, right, because of communities that they may belong to. They may be seen driving a high-end car. So whether it's a ghetto youth, as some may say, or whether it's a high-end African lawyer or doctor, it doesn't matter. That kind of absurdity comes out because of the whole institutionalized nature of racism that has been sown in the hearts and minds of so many citizens of the world that they automatically take it as a right to discriminate and to suspect. And that indeed is very, very sad for the progress of mankind. We have heard and heard about the whole hullabaloo surrounding the George Floyd issue, and those of us who have been following events in the world know that it's certainly not an isolated case. If we go back in the past and if we continue to look into the present, at one point in time, African Americans were viewed as 3/5 as a human being, and it was part of the Constitution in the US. I mean, how in heaven's name, who gave anyone that authority to divide another part of humanity as 3/5 of a human being? We know about the many cases of public lynchings in the United States. We know of apartheid in South Africa, where people who were born and natives of a country during that era had to have passes to enter certain parts of a country that they belonged to, who went to separate schools, and who were disadvantaged in every possible way. And even today, that we may have or have had an African government with some kind of mixtures at this point in time, the lot of the mass of people who surely are deserving of being uplifted, it has not really changed much. So I'm saying in this presentation to you, let us have these conversations, as hard and as difficult as it may be. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it even, as I said, in communities where people look the same in terms of, the Caribbean, where basically, you have Africans being the most popular group. We have East Indians in significant numbers. We have other, mixed people. But at the end of the day, even in those communities where we look alike, we have communities, we have people who are stigmatized, we have African youths who are profiled based on appearance, and sometimes we have law enforcement agencies, not on every occasion, verifying evidence to act in a forceful manner against them. So I'm saying these conversations must be had. We have politicians in Trinidad and Tobago, in Guyana, in other parts of the world, who play the race card for support. I mean, if you have to get support by playing a race card, I think it's a very disingenuous way to find support. And people must value themselves more and determine on what basis really they will decide to support, rather than to succumb to race baiting. All right? Every human being should be treated in a certain way. And we should not play race in a way to further, cause strife and mayhem in the world. There are so many incidents of mayhem where man has given himself the authority over others that, it is frightening for the future of mankind. So my simple message to you through this presentation is, let us have the conversations, but more importantly on the conversations where affirmative action has to be taken to frontally address these atrocities. It must be done. But we must also have sober discussion, sober analysis, ongoing research, and a willingness and a yearning in the hearts of mankind to live in harmony. But as I said, and I repeat throughout this presentation, it is in the interest of many to maintain this harmony, because in so doing, they are benefiting, whether it's politically, economically, or otherwise. But at the end of the day, there's a saying, time is longer than twine. There has to be an end, and we must play our part in whatever ways to end those kinds of ways where people are not being allowed to live in a harmonious manner that will be the best platform for global development. So I know this message, you will reflect deeply on it, you will think about it, you will ponder on it, and we will have discussions with the intent of coming up with plans and where we could take cogent action to continue to take action, to continue to have the debates, and to show that commitment to have equitable and just society. We know it's not a walk in the park, but we need to move in the direction to change the tide. So thank you for listening, thank you for viewing. And we remind you to subscribe to the video, like, share, and comment. We remind you to support our work by contributing through the account flashing on the screen, through our YP and Patreon links, by participating in our ongoing courses, by purchasing my book Conversation at 100 TT 45 East New York 15 US, or call us and book a counseling or coaching appointment. We are ready. All you got to do is give us a call at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and